and welcome back to the Surrey Hills Smokers. Just me on my own, as we said in our mulled wine video. Unfortunately, Gavin can't make doing this. There is also another reason. Our youngest member of the Surrey Hills Smokers, being William, my son, unfortunately has COVID. Don't worry, he's okay. He's busy watching TV, but it also means that I'm having to isolate as well, because obviously you can't leave a 7-year-old on his own. But that being adieu, here we go with our start of our Christmas specials. So for today's one, we are going to be bringing you a starter. The whole idea of this series is an end-to-end sort of Christmas roast dinner that you could all do either in the oven or on the barbecues. I've got everything lit here in HQ1 today. It's pretty toasty. It's quite cold and damp outside and foggy today, but it's still rather warm in here. Anyway, so today we are going to be bringing you the starter part of this series, which is a hot smoked salmon terrine with fresh soda bread. So grab yourself a drink, sit down and enjoy the video. So it's quite simple, this really, to make this terrine. It's very, very simple. We just need a tub of creme fraiche. This is just Asda's own brand one. You can buy whatever supermarket one. You can buy the fancy ones, whatever. There's a tub of Philadelphia. Other cream cheeses are available, but this is the one I chose because I quite like that. I need some fresh dill. We have got here some of my home hot smoked salmon. So this was just a side of salmon that I bought from Hyde Orchard Farms, and basically I've hot smoked it previously on the Oklahoma Joe. Now you do need to do that because obviously the whole smoking process, where you hot smoke things, if you leave it, the flavours develop better. Now this is all ready to go. I have actually eaten some of this on its own separately because there was obviously a lot of it, and I've frozen the rest of it, but the 3 slices here should make enough smoky salmoniness for this starter. We've got our trusty food processor here. We've got a pepper grinder from Cole & Mason. I haven't got salt because there's quite a bit of salt was in the brine, the dry brine for the salmon, so it's got quite a bit of a salty edge, so I don't think we'd really need to add any more salt into that. You can if you taste and you feel it needs it, but me preference, I think there's enough salt already on the fish to already season it from that aspect, but we do need a little bit of cracked black pepper in there as well. And then you're going to need yourself some ramekin dishes. I think these are old goo, lovely dessert, sticky dessert ones. They're washable, they're microwavable, safe. You can stick them in the dishwasher. They're really good to keep, but they're the ideal size because you don't want to load people up too much with this. It's just a taster to start you going, getting in for that big main course with all of the trimmings. So without a further ado, let's get started. So it's very, very simple this. We just take the lid off this and we'll flake in the salmon. Then there's no skin on this. It's very important to make sure when you've done this it's got no skin on, because that will just taste rancid. So we're going to just flake this this salmon in. It smells great, and it's because it's well cooked, it's just flaking up super, super easy. So we'll flake that in. Oh, drop a piece. It doesn't have to be too small because obviously the blades of the food processor will do it. Let's just move these ramekins out of the way. Got a tea towel here. You don't have to worry too much because obviously the fish is cooked. So we're going to open the tub of creme fraiche and we'll just put that whole tub in there. We want this nice and creamy and yummy, and what we're going to do after we've blended it together and put it into the ramekins is actually stick it in the fridge for a couple of hours just to firm it all up, and that is an absolute. Now this is a recipe, by the way, you don't have to cook or do on the day. It's one you could prepare in advance, take that bit of stress away from yourself and get on with it. So there's that side of things. What we'll do now is we'll put half of the tub of Philadelphia in. I found, for me, that kind of ratio works. Any more and it gets a bit too thick, but I mean you can again do to your own personal preference. It really doesn't matter. Just going to make sure we've got a clean half there. There we go, lovely. All right, and that's that. So that's fantastic. So what we also need now is that fresh dill. So we're just going to take this out of the packet. What we need to do is chop up. It's really down to preference. It doesn't really matter. We just need to cross chop a good chunk of that. You want to keep some as well for the end because you want to use it as a garnish on the top just to make it look a bit pretty. But what we're going to do, just roughly chop this. It doesn't have to be massive. As long as it's relatively fine, it doesn't really matter. Got a nice sharp knife. It's one of the biggest Santuco I've got from our guys at Flint and Flame. Absolutely phenomenal knife, and that will do. Just be very, very careful. Obviously, I can already smell that lovely dill. Now, if you don't like dill and the flavour of it, by all means, just leave it out. It really doesn't have to be. As I say, there's no right and wrong. This is just a recipe that I like. So now we need to put some black pepper into this. So this is a fantastic grinder, electric grinder from the guys at Cole & Mason. It's adjustable. There's a matching set, so you get salt and pepper one. They've got adjustable parts on the bottom so you can make it as coarse or as fine as you like. I've got it set quite coarse. We're just going to give us a good liberal cracking of black pepper in there just to add that in. So that should give us a good amount of pepper in there. And then it literally is as easy as putting the lid on and giving it a whiz until you see its consistencies come down to sort of a pasty type consistency. So I'll bring you back in once I've blended this. So we've done the blend. I've had a little taste of it. It's absolute perfect consistency. It's not super smooth. It's got a little bit of chunk in it, which is lovely because you want a little bit of that when you spread it on your bread and your side. That goes with that soda bread really, really well. So now we've got it out, we just open that up. Everything's beautifully mixed together. On this Nutri-Ninja, it was on the blend mode, or sorry, the mix mode rather, for the automatic settings for around about 30 seconds or so. But as you can see, and I'll bring you in for a close-up, there's quite a lot in there, which is good. This will stick in the fridge quite well. You can actually freeze it as well. It doesn't break it or doesn't make it any worse, but it is nicer fresh. But if you needed to, you don't want to waste it, by all means, stick it in a bag, vacuum pack it up and freeze it up, and then you can just defrost it and have it again. So now it's time to get it into these ramekins. It does make quite a lot, as I say, so there probably is a good chance of you getting it. It's nice, light and fluffy and airy. You don't want it too stodgy because it'll be like cement otherwise once it's set. But what we want to do is make sure we fill these ramekins up, and we fill them to the top, and we'll just push it down gently just to make sure it looks a bit more presentable, and we can always tidy up the edges as well. As I say, this is going to go in the fridge for a few hours anyway, just to set and firm up, and we'll really enjoy this. So that's cool. So you just want to sort of level it off at the top and do that. So let me get on with the other three, and then I'll bring you in for a close-up. So we've got the 4 terrine pots full of the beautiful hot smoked salmon, and the flavour is just amazing. There's the right level of saltiness, there's a bit of pepper in there, the dill you can taste. It's just going to be amazing. Once that firms up a little bit, it's not too heavy a starter either, so you're not going to load people up and then they're going to have to eat their main course, which is obviously the main reason for Christmas. But we've laid this out, we've done that, now we just need to garnish it. So we've got the trusty knife again, we've got some more of that dill. We just want to finely chop some more of it, very quickly and very finely as possible, just to sprinkle over the top. Just grab a handful and then, you know, whatever it is whatever it is. Don't overdo it though, because it will obviously overpower the flavour of it. We just want it as a little sort of garnish along the top, and we'll just use the rock chop, cross chop method here just to make sure it's safe. And there we go. So let's just sprinkle some of that on. It just finishes it off. Doesn't have to be particularly even, just makes it look a little bit more pretty and a little bit more interesting. People are going to be wowed by this. This hot smoked salmon video, by the way, I will put a link up at the top here for you, as well as the soda bread. I'm not going to actually show you how to cook those today because I've already done videos on those. I'll put links to those so you can go and have a look at those. They're super quick and easy. The soda bread's about 45 minutes, and you know, the smoked salmon takes an hour and a half at most on the smoker. So absolutely super quick way of doing this, but you've got plenty of time before Christmas to get yourself out, get that side of salmon, and get that done. Anyway, I'll bring you in for a close-up, and then we'll have a taste of these and see what they're like. So here we go. I've made 4 ramekins here. They're, you know, decent size. There's probably enough in there for another 2, so possibly about 6. So it really is a super easy recipe. I'm just going to have a taste out of this because it's, why not? It's cooker's rights, right? Yeah, you're getting the saltiness of that smoked salmon, very evident. It's not overpoweringly smoky. You get the dill, you get the pepper, you definitely get the cream cheese. It's got a really beautiful texture of the fish, but also a very smooth creaminess from that. So there you go, a super easy recipe, very impressive starter. Couple that up with the bread, and away you go. It's really a winner. Anyway, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we've got the next couple of videos. They're all going live this week, so you'll get a video a day from us, or from me, because Gavin's obviously not here. But stay tuned and enjoy the rest of the series.